President Trump's immigration crackdown is now hitting America's highways. Homeland Security says federal agents and state police have arrested 223 illegal aliens on Indiana roads near the Illinois state line. 106 of them actually had commercial driving licenses. The arrests come after what DHS leaders are calling a disturbing pattern of deadly truck crashes involving illegals from Florida to California. Here's Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
A number of those truck drivers that were illegal have criminal records. Individuals that have no place on American roads, and in the end, if it takes money, if it takes polling states' ability to issue CDLs, we will stop at nothing to make sure that our roads are safe.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE agents, are also continuing to take criminals who are here illegally off the streets of Chicago. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says they've made more than 3,000 arrests in just 2 months. And we are now actively monitoring that ICE facility. So this is live on the left-hand side. And it has been the site of some anti-ICE rioting and protests, with crowds gathering every single Friday since early September. They have come back, and we don't know what the crowd will look like on this Friday, but they've showed up, so we're monitoring it. Senior correspondent Mike Tobin is there. Mike.
And so far, Harris, the crowd here at the ICE facility in Broadview is pretty small, no clashes. As far as everything that's going on with the immigration crackdown, this is probably the least impactful. What we should talk about is DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announcing that Operation Midway Blitz is going to involve a crackdown on illegals driving trucks. In recent weeks, we have seen cases like Jashanpreet Singh. He entered the country illegally in 2022 and was allowed to go free under the Biden administration. He's now accused of driving an 18-wheeler drunk and causing a crash that killed 3 people in California last week. Another case in Florida involves a man named Harjinder Singh. He entered the country illegally in 2018, failed his commercial driver's test 10 times, and is now accused of causing a crash that killed 3 people in Florida. Secretary Noem says there are 150 illegal migrants driving trucks that have been taken off the street, and there are more to come.
Every single time one of these individuals gets behind the truck, on the wheel of a truck, they are in front of a deadly weapon that can kill other Americans as well. If you are here driving on our streets illegally and our highways, you are endangering our citizens, and your days are numbered.
The ACLU and several advocacy groups have filed a federal lawsuit alleging inhumane conditions inside the ICE facility here in Broadview. The lawsuit alleges detainees are not fed properly, pregnant women are denied extra food. The lawsuit also alleges overcrowding and unsanitary conditions. The lawsuit quotes one detainee saying they are treated worse than animals because people treat their pets better than that. And late last night, both houses of the Illinois legislature passed legislation that would allow people in Illinois to sue federal agents for things like unlawful detention. Also creates punishments if federal agents cover their faces or don't use their body cameras. It should be noted that Illinois Republicans are in the minority. All Illinois Republicans voted against the legislation. Harris?
Mike, just a really quick follow-up for you. Are there any facts, receipts, anything to back up any of those claims that these people are making about the treatment of the worst in this country illegally?
Well, the lawsuit just got filed. If you're referring to the ACLU lawsuit, they've got quite a bit in terms of evidence that they're presenting in that particular case, but we haven't heard as a response from the government.
All right, we'll cover it as it happens. Mike Tobin, thank you very much.
You got it.
In focus now, Todd Lyons, acting ICE director. Good to have you today. Let's just start there with that ACLU lawsuit and just get your reaction on it.
Well, Harris, this is nothing new for us, right? We're constantly being accused of not treating detainees properly or not giving proper care. And, you know, I think one thing that's kind of people forget about the fact is that we are housing criminal illegal aliens, right? And they are in jail. They are detained. But again, we have the higher standards when it comes to detainee care and what we do for them. So again, I'm not too worried about this at all because we do this time and time again, and it's always proven that ICE is on the right side of this.
All right, let's move forward. There have been some big numbers in the last week or so of just the success of the operations that are going on under your watch. I want you to talk about what is working for you and what that means widely for the American public, all of those arrests that you're making.
You know, Harris, what I think it shows is that ICE is now allowed to do our law enforcement mission. Secretary Noem has let us get out there and do the job we're sworn to do. Like you said, our numbers going up. Our partnership with our other federal partners in state and local government, this operation in Indiana, that is proof positive that cooperation between law enforcement, not driving a wedge between law enforcement, but cooperation at the highest level and at state and local level is key to ensuring that we find, arrest, and deport not only the criminal aliens, but everyone that was let in under the last administration. We have to find these aliens. We have to go ahead and remove these public safety threats, and that's what ICE is doing. I'm so proud of the men and women of ICE and the work of our other federal partners. What we're doing right now is ensuring that the American people are getting what they voted for, and President Trump said he was going to make America safe again, and I'm really proud to say ICE is at the forefront of that.
Look, it's not lost on the American public. I mean, the lawmakers and politics can do what they do, but it's not lost on anybody that these agents are operating under a lot of threat. So the optimism about their safety is also forefront right now, I would imagine, too. Agents in California saying that they were forced to, in fact, shoot in self-defense after a driver tried to run them over. ICE says it was conducting a vehicle stop when a suspect in a separate car pulled up and tried to run the officers over in reverse. And last week, another man was accused of trying to ram agents' cars in a dramatic incident that was caught on video. Attacks on immigration and customs enforcement showing no signs of slowing down. DHS released new data showing that death threats against your ICE agent surged 8,000% over last year. And again, they still continue to be on the job and do their jobs.
They do, Harris, because they're proud of the work they do. They're sworn law enforcement officers, some of the bravest law enforcement officers in America. But really, I think what drives them is the fact that they're doing the will of the American people. They have a president that supports them, and they have a secretary that's leading from the front. And they know that the administration has their back. It's scary, these numbers, but the men and women of ICE know they're out there, conducting a crucial mission. And, what really bothers me is the fact that we have so many elected officials that are actually advocating running from law enforcement, resisting law enforcement, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't see these vehicles being used as weapons until all of a sudden we had elected officials vouching for these violent actions, saying it's okay to resist ICE. That vehicle is a deadly weapon. Law enforcement officers all across this country, not just ICE, but state, local, federal level, have to protect themselves in self-defense. That is a 2-ton weapon being used against them. And if they have to return fire, then they have to do what it takes to make sure they go home to their family every night.
Acting Director of ICE, Todd Lyons, good to have you in focus. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good seeing you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.